Are you stuck in survival mode? Do you feel down, unfulfilled, unsure on what direction you need to be going? I felt that way before, and it takes a bit of soul searching to be able to figure out why you actually feel that way and to understand. And I think it's quite an emotionally mature thing to be able to do. Have you ever felt like you're missing something from your life, feeling a bit stuck in survival mode, and you're just surviving and not living? I felt that way, and there's a proven and simple way to fix it. So what we're going to be going over today are 3 strategies to do a bit of self-reflection, to take a bit of a check on the pulse of your life. This is particularly helpful if you are feeling in a bit of a rut, feeling a bit down, feeling like you're not going anywhere. I've currently left my full-time job and spent a bit of time looking inwards and feeling a little bit lost for a little while. And this is me now putting myself back on track and actually making steps towards where I want to be. I've been given this unique opportunity where I have been able to leave my job, and now I want to make sure that I take full advantage of that. So the reasons why I'm looking to take this sort of check on my life and the direction I'm going is because I've not long left my job. I'm currently just the carer for Rose, and it's allowed me a bit of breathing space to be able to do a bit of soul searching and look inwards and see what direction I actually want my life to go, to start feeling a bit fulfilled, a bit meaningful, and genuinely in a better mind space than I currently have been. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at some proven studies and strategies that have been developed, not by me, obviously, but I've been doing a bit of research into this to try and see how I can basically get my life on track and be fulfilled and just feel good about myself. What we're going to be looking at is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the 3 pillars of life, and a wheel of life. And we're going to look at all of those and use that as the basis of a bit of our soul searching exercise. This is just going to be a brief overview of all of them and what we want to do. And then later on in this series, I will be going over what I actually did, and you can follow along and see what I actually did to uncover how I feel and my goals and how I realigned myself. So let's look at the tools. So we're going to get to a fresh page. So we're going to start with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's a pyramid. There's 5 layers. 1, 2, 5 layers. And we're going to build our way up. So the bottom is physiological needs. And what that means is this is for being able to breathe, being able to drink and keep clean, being able to drink, being able to eat, being able to sleep, and being able to have clothes, basically to protect yourself from the elements. And that's mostly the philosophical needs. There's also reproduction in there, as well as shelter. But let's say level 1. So you're going to need to get all of these sort of ticked off. I feel like probably not necessarily reproduction. You don't need to be having a baby to be looking forward. That doesn't have to be your goal in my mind. Next level, so level 2, is your safety needs. So this is your personal security. For an example, let's say you're sheltered, so you live, I don't know, under a bridge. A level up from that would be living in a flat potentially, or something like that. So just because you've got a shelter doesn't mean you have personal security. But that's sort of building on up, and that's how it sort of works. Employment, and this doesn't necessarily mean being employed by someone. It could be self-employed, that sort of thing. And it sort of leads towards having resources, which is another thing. Another thing that's important in level 2 is your health and also property. So that sort of blends in as well with personal security. If you have all of level 1 and you're working into level 2, so for example, property, looking towards it, it doesn't mean you can't get any of the other levels. It's just I'm going to use this almost as a basis to try and prioritize what levels I need to look at. So level 3 is love. So this is your relationships. So friendships, intimate relationships, and family, and a sense of connection. So almost like a community type of thing would be important here. So at this point, you've got all your bases covered, really, and then this starts looking after your mind, I would say. So again, you don't need to have all of these levels ticked off before you move on to the next one. You can have all of them. So it is just sort of a rough guide, not a complete all of level 1, all of level 2, all of level 3. Level 4, so your self-esteem. So this is stuff like respecting yourself, your status in the community. If everyone knows you as a thief, you're sort of not going to be happy about that. Your freedom, so being able to do what you need to do. Freedom is a big, wide thing. It's also having the strength to stand up for what you believe in as well. That's partly in with level 4. And then at the very top, level 5, so if you've got them all completed, how you're going to get a bit more fulfillment, is by self-actualization. And what that means is basically, it's almost a bit philanthropy. So it means that you want to be more than just your one person. You want to try and, so for example, give back to your community. You want to help other people. You want to do this sort of stuff. Your base, it's almost like your cup of enjoyment and where you are belonging is full, and you want to try and use your cup to pour into other people's cups and help them out. And this is the basis for Maslow's hierarchy. Now, there's a lot of stuff online about this. It's quite famous, quite popular. My wife was telling me about this through one of her many essays that she has to do with uni, and this is what she was talking about, and that led us to looking into it in a bit more detail. So we're going to be using this to help us get through. Other thing we're going to be using, turn the page, we'll change the pen, why not? 3 pillars of life. So there are pillars, 1, 2, 3. What these are saying, now these are the 3 pillars, and these will be the foundations to getting a happy, fulfilled life. It's obviously very similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's just a different way of putting it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this one as well, because we want to be mindful. We don't want to just stick to one way of looking at things. We want to make sure we go through. Hello, baby. Oh, the baby's on her way in. So I apologise for any noise interference, but we'll carry on. So these pillars are health, hey baby, health, hope, and harmony. It's nice they all begin with H. Now obviously it's quite wishy-washy. So these 3 pillars, there's a bunch to them. So in the health, it's stuff like your mental health. Sorry, ignore me, baby's distracting me. So it's your mental health, your emotional health, so being able to be a bit more emotionally resilient, your physical health. They're the main things. So being able to look after those will mean pillar 1 is looked after. It almost seems obvious, but if you're feeling a bit lost and not sure where to go, these are the sort of things. You need to take it back to the basics. I think actually, how is my mental health? You need to ask yourself those questions. So hope. So this would be stuff like goals. Do you have any goals? Have you set any goals? Are you working towards any goals? And in that, there's also personal growth. So are you trying to better yourself? Now I know that's part of a goal, but like, for example, a goal could be I want to get a better paid job. My personal growth in that sense is I want to get better qualifications that might help me with my goal. But then there's also economic growth. So that's growth, right? Excuse the spelling, it's awful. So same situation. Hope your job is to get a better paid job. You use your personal growth to try and help you get that job, which will help you with your economic growth because you are after more money. We won't get into the question of more money. And then harmony, it's a bit more along the lines of a relationship sort of thing. So it's like your social interactions. So if you're anxious to leave the house all the time, you're not in harmony with society, you could say. Your family. So if you don't talk to any of your family, so I don't talk to many of mine, that means I'm not necessarily in harmony with them. Baby. So, hang on. You did that quick, didn't you? You're so naughty. You are. Joys of trying to record it when the baby is kicking off. So another area you can be harmonious in would be cultural and your religious views. So I am having a bit of a religious crisis at the minute where I'm feeling very guilty for it, but also want to give a lot more back. I'm feeling very inspired and I'm not entirely sure. I feel a bit overwhelmed by that inspiration. But before we get distracted about that, this is obviously the brief overview. I will have a video over me breaking these down from my point of view, which might make it easier for you to understand. There's also being harmonious with the environment. So that's like your surroundings. So it's, I suppose, to simplify it a lot would be, for example, if it rains a lot, which it does here in England, you're gonna have to get used to that idea to end up living a happy, fulfilled life, really. That's a simple way to look at it. So now we'll move on to the next tool we're going to use to do a bit of a check-up on ourselves, and that is the wheel of life. So it starts off with a big circle and it's split into 8 parts. So down the middle and then in the middle of there. Now that is rough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to just list them because it's easier. Again, excuse the rough. So 1 would be health. 2 would be your career or business. And so what you do with the wheel of the life is you mark yourself from 0 to 10 and you go through and you plot where you might be feeling. So I'm just guessing here. So for example, 1 could be about an 8, 2 low, and you just fill it out like that. But then that's this area here. It's just a bit of a chart to say how you're feeling. If you were perfect at everything in absolute harmony, which is unrealistic, and I challenge anybody who says that they're 10 out of 10 on everything, it'd be a full circle. A baba. A baba? Oh, I told you. You little monkey. Sit there for a minute. Pesky little pup. So I challenge anybody who says that they're 10 out of 10 for everything. Because it's just not. There's always room for improvement without feeling down on yourself. So 3, finances. 4, your relationships. 5, personal growth. 6, just flying through these because we've basically gone over most of them in the other sections, but this is just a different format. This one is quite nice to have a quick flash look and see all your areas that you feel in one page. So 6, fun and recreation, so like your hobbies and stuff like that. 7 is community, so for me would be my church. 8 is environment, so how do you feel about the area you're surrounded in, and that's pretty much it. So we compare that wheel of life to the other two. Obviously 3 pillars of life is a bit misleading in the sense that it's reckons it's only 3 pillars, but obviously each pillar is more detailed. Maslow's hierarchy gives you the idea of the order you want to look at. So let's say everything was 5, you could reflect upon Maslow's hierarchy to think, right, perhaps I should use this as a way to move forward in this area. And then the wheel of life is a nice quick jot it down gut feeling, and then you use this information to make your goals and to move forward. You're so cheeky. You're so cheeky, little monkey. And look at you, little spud. It's good exercise for you though. Right. So once you've gone through them and you've figured them all out and you've asked yourself all the questions, what do you need to do? So what I'm gonna do, have done, is I've rated myself on the wheel of life, and I've used the other 2 foundational principles to come up with some goals on how I'm going to move forward. This is part of a series, so this is episode 1, if you like, where I go over principles, and then in the next one, what I do is I'll show you my results, and then following on from that, I will show you each section, what I've done and gone through, and how I've formulated my goals and what I've come up with, and how I intend to keep myself accountable and just dig deeper into them. So it is a way for you to follow along. If this is something that you're interested in but feel like you need help with, I'm toying with the idea of having a WhatsApp group or an email thing that I can help people one-to-one and see if we can get to the bottom of someone else's needs, but keep each other accountable. And it could just be a nice thing for people involved, if there is people who want to get involved. It's something that I think would have helped me, or will help me, to stay accountable, to also keep me a bit focused. As you all know, I'm not a mega YouTuber. I'm a real person, a dad of 3, a stay-at-home husband, a newly stay-at-home husband, and I'm just trying to make the best with what I've got and make sure that I'm moving in the direction that is good for me and my family without making any stupid decisions. And I'm getting on. Look, I'm going grey. So I haven't got time to waste either. So I need to make sure that I'm on the ball. And if you want to get involved, follow along. Obviously, my YouTube channel will be getting back to it and helping. Follow along with the playlist. Do the YouTube things, do the like, do the subscribe, do the notifications. But if you feel like you need that extra little bit, drop me a message in the comments, and if I do this through WhatsApp or an email, we'll work it out and move forward with it. So follow the playlist. Until next time, I've been James. Thank you.